Hey, Rachel.
Hey, how are you?
I'm excited to talk with you.
Oh, I'm excited to talk with you too.
Where are you originally from? Where'd you grow up?
Um, well, I was born in Columbus, Georgia, grew up in what we call Hackneyville, which most people don't know that. It's like you could blink and you'd miss it. So mostly the Alexander City area.
Okay. And did you
That's in Alabama.
in Alabama? Okay. And did
Yes.
you like grow up with like same parents, siblings?
Yeah. Same parents, same everything. Two sisters. Um, we fought a lot, but we love each other. But
Did,
yes, my
did
parents have been married 56 years, I think. I think 56, yes.
did you experience some of the conditions as you were growing up, or at what point would you say you started noticing some things?
Um, I would guess about I was older, probably in my 20s or late 20s, early 30s. I would complain to the doctors about having my left leg that it would go numb, it would tingle, and I mean I had doctors do things try to give me help or what they thought I they were doing would help, and I mean they just chalked it up to, whatever, aches and pains. But I know now that with the psoriatic arthritis that is when that started. I just didn't have any other symptoms at the time but those. And I didn't develop any till about 6 years ago. I really didn't start, until then I didn't that's when I started having more of the issues. I would keep my daughter's youngest girl. I would babysit her and I would just be in the bed by the time she would leave in the evenings, and I just couldn't. I'd go to bed because I was hurting so bad.
Yeah, you have
So
a if you let me go ahead and read this list here, and then you can kind of expound on any of them.
I know
So,
you didn't have the psoriatic arthritis on there.
okay, yeah,
Yes.
so nerve pain,
Mm-hmm.
fibromyalgia, chronic kidney stones, urinary tract infections, hysterectomy, temporomandibular joint dysfunction, or
Mm-hmm.
TJ,
Yes.
stomach issues, gastroesophageal reflux disease or GERD, LINX or LINX surgeries,
Mm-hmm.
insomnia, headaches, gout, nausea, high blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure, hypothyroidism, low vitamin D, gallbladder was removed, some depression,
Mm-hmm.
PhD, and just really, an awareness advocate and leader right now because as people are coming together and talking about it more and more, I've really seen you be part of that leadership. So, where do you want to start with that list in terms of one of the earliest things, and kind of take us through what that was like for you, starting to experience one of those things at a time, and
Okay.
yeah, walk us through
Um.
kind of what your experience has been.
Okay. Well, the hysterectomy was probably, I think, my first thing because I'd had a kidney stone back then, but I didn't know that's what it was. But I had I'm trying to think of the word. Anyway, my pap smear come back abnormal. And
Okay.
so I had to have a colposcopy done, and it was severe dysplasia. So it was like, pretty much they told me it's not cancer, but if the hysterectomy is not done, it would turn into cancer. So
Hmm.
that was probably my first, and then after that, the kidney stones started, and I would have them back to back to back. I mean, I would get rid of one, then the other kidney would have one, and it would just do that back and forth for years.
Wow.
Um, Insomnia started as an adult. Um, the reflux, my mom has it really bad, but I've probably, I'd say, I want to say in my 30s. it started really, really bad, and to the point I had to be put on medication. And then throughout the years, it got worse where um, I had Barrett's, the Barrett's esophagus. It was only focal, but which was one cell maybe, but I got it two different times. So
Okay.
they put the links in, which is like a little, like you know, them little stretchy bracelets. It was kind of like that, but it was a magnet
Hmm.
to hold my esophagus closed. Well, then after I had it for probably 4 years, I noticed one day I went to eat and I threw it up back up. I couldn't get it to go down. Well, kind of rocked on for probably 6 months. And then finally they did the procedure and took it out. So then I had
Oh,
to be two different medications because it was working, but my body was rejecting it. And my gallbladder was before that. I mean, stomach issues were pretty much all my life. I mean, I had, even when I was growing up, when I started my period, they were extremely painful. I never had a normal anything as long as I can remember. And so I think some of that was just stuff I see a lot of things that happened that progressed to where I'm at now. When I, go back and research the psoriatic arthritis, there's a lot
yeah.
of things that, you know, correlate with what's going on with that.
And
But
you started, you got on TikTok and you kind of found us and kind of connected with others. Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like. Why did you reach out? When did you start, connecting with people that you could relate with?
um I'm trying to remember when. It's been a few months. I can't remember exactly. I come across one of your lives and just stopped and started listening to it. And I was like, wow, it's like, okay, someone I can relate to, someone that knows what I'm going through. And so I started following y'all. And then probably a few months ago, I'm not sure exactly when, but I jumped on one of your lives and started talking.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go live at the time, but I could get on and talk. And then I met Icy, and it's been really good. She was really, I mean, from the first live that I got on and started talking, she was awesome, amazing. As always, when I get on live with y'all, she's there. Make sure she says, "Hey, how are you?" And probably, I guess, about a month or so ago is when I could go live for the first time. And
Yeah.
I think
She's
my
a
first live was with y'all.
She's amazing. She's actually, been fortunate to join us today. So, hi,
Okay. Hey,
Icy.
Spicy.
You know that we love you and that Rachel loves you as well. She's
Okay.
been a big instrument and leader in all of what's happening and bringing a lot of people together. We had an opportunity of interviewing her as well, and so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's a load of fun.
Yeah, she's sweetheart.
Mhm. Well, what's day to day life like for you? Kind of, you've got these conditions. You can talk a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more about, if you want, any historical, but talk to me about kind of anything that you want about um, more details about what you've experienced as you learned about those and how your life changed, and then kind of leading up to how that's just changed things altogether in terms of what your life is, your day to day life is right now.
Well, like I said, when my granddaughter, when I was keeping her, she's 5.5 now, but that I just one day it was like I told my daughter, it's like I can't do it anymore. I said I don't know what's going on, but I was in the bed that Thursday with it felt like the flu. I mean, I literally thought I was just dying because I felt so bad. And I made a doctor's appointment the following week.
Hmm.
And he said, he did the lab work and he said, something's off. We've been talking about symptoms for a while. He said, I think it's time for you to go to a rheumatologist. And he was thinking rheumatoid. And
Yeah.
so that led me to go to the rheumatologist. And she said, no, it's psoriatic arthritis, just by looking at the labs and some of the symptoms I had told her. It just, like I said, fever, just tired all the time, um, no energy, just really listless. And I don't know if my husband, he's made an account so he could be on and listen.
Oh, okay.
He might, yeah, so he might could tell you, he's because he's been there through it all. I mean, because it's been a rough time,
Yeah.
but we just went from there, went to the rheumatologist, and then it took me probably two rheumatologists, or I'm on my third one, but it finally took me three to get to somebody who would listen and really like not just say, okay, I'm treating you for a symptom. You're a person. Let's talk about what you want to do and
Yeah.
how to go about it. Because he was like, we can go holistic, we can go, you know, take it out by doing the biologics, or we can do both. And
Yeah.
that was like wonderful for me because I was like, finally somebody's listening to me. And I mean, it took me 4.5 years to find him because my first one, it was mostly just treating the symptoms and just rocking on and just not really treating the person.
Yeah.
So I've done really good with that. But yeah, I mean, I have to go to pain management because it just got to the point where, I mean, I hurt all day, every day. And it was becoming hard to do physical day to day activities. I mean, it would take me till 12 o'clock to get up to move around. Um, and then even it was still, I'd say, hard to do. Like, I can't do daily activities like cleaning my house, the mopping, sweeping, things like that would hurt. I mean, the sleeping got worse. I got where I really couldn't sleep because I can't get comfortable. If it wasn't the reflux bothering me, it was my hips from the psoriatic arthritis when I tried to, because I'm a side sleeper. So
Hmm.
it was that. And I mean, like I said, it affects everything. I mean, you can't do the things that you wanted to do. I can't get out in the yard, or I used to couldn't get out in the yard and play with my grandkids. Because I would just hurt so bad because I didn't know what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell, but now that I've gotten treatment and I've gotten a good doctor and I'm starting on working on some holistic stuff that I want to do for the pain, and just eating better, making sure I move. I mean, that's one thing I've learned. If you've got any kind of autoimmune, especially anything related like rheumatoid, psoriatic, you
Hmm.
have to move. You cannot sit still. When you're still, you're hurting. I learned that the hard way. But now that I know that that's a big part of it, I try to, do something. If it's just walk outside, because like I live really close to my mom, and I would just get in the car and drive up there. So I'm trying to walk when it's pretty enough. I walk up there instead of getting in the car and driving up there because that helps me get in some exercise.
So you have both
Yeah.
the arthritis and the fibromyalgia really being kind of up there in terms of the
Yes.
ones that are the biggest pain.
Well, yes, and the fibro is probably worse because, like today, I have had a hard time getting out of pain. And I know it's the weather. It's just because it affects, and I know it's the fibro because when it's the weather's bad, the fibro I can tell really acts up. Yes, yes, and so it's kind of hard to get out of pain, but
Oh,
I have to make myself move, and it's been hard to do. I will not lie, it has
yeah.
not been by far, but I mean, it's just something I've learned I have to do.
What would you say is the biggest thing that's changed in your life because of all of this?
Um, Not being able to. I had a job working at a daycare for a
Hmm.
while, and the fact that I had to leave that job because the kids snotty, sneezing in my face and doing, I stayed sick. So I had to leave a job that I was truly loved. So I think that's been the hardest for me right now because I wanted to work. My poor husband, he has to go to work out of town. Like right now, he's working in Nebraska. And so it's hard that he has to go away and work and leave from home and that I can't help him. So that leads into depression because then I feel like I can't carry my weight but he's so good about it. I mean, he's been with me through all of this and he's been wonderful. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better person through this.
Yeah, I really look up to people that are just trying to do their best of being there for
Hmm.
people that are suffering. And when you say that it's kind of impacted your self-worth, what are some
Hmm.
things that go on that cause that self-worth to be challenged or to be uh, in some cases plummets for some people, right? What's that thought process that you kind of struggle with that I'm sure people can relate with?
Being a burden. Um, just not people not understanding what you're going through and the extent of it at times. But the biggest thing is just being a burden because I can't carry my weight or, do my part as much. But so that leads to the depression.
What are some what are some things that what are some things that caretakers or even just family and friends can do that will help you feel not only less of a burden, but that in fact your worth is amazing. There's no reason to be ashamed of it. What are some of the top things that we could do that would really impact that rather than make it worse?
Listen, or just when I'm having a bad day and I can't get up to go do something, just understand that, okay, you rest, we'll do this another day, or or because like my daughter depends a lot on me, and that is or can be hard, and then she just has to understand that there may be a day that, oh, I can't go pick up the kids because I just my body's had enough, I can't go. But just listen, be there for them, support's the number one. Just be supportive. And
So I
this weekend, my kids really showed up and showed out, talking to me about the support and understanding what I'm going through.
Now guys for sure, I know that's kind of uh, generalizing a bit, but for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, a lot of men, um, we're wired whenever something's presented to us to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That,
that not just in the chronic
mm-hmm.
pain community, but just
Yes.
in human nature, I know that being attentive and soft and listening and empathetic, um, we can get worked up. Like what are you looking for? Or what are you expecting? Especially when it's a chronic thing that they can't fix, right? And so would you agree with that in that it's like I'm not asking for you to fix anything.
Yes.
Take that hat off for a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
and just be there
Because
with me.
my husband gets so aggravated, and I think at times I take it personally because I think he's aggravated with me, and he's
Weather
not.
alert. Tornado
He's
watch in about
aggravated
25
that
miles
he
from
can't.
current location.
Sorry, we're having a
Sure.
little weather. But he's mad that he can't do what he can't fix it. Like you said, he
Yeah.
just wants to fix it, and he gets mad that he can't. So I think it's more that because he doesn't really. He's got to take that hat off sometimes and just realize he can't fix it, and sometimes he's just gonna. My biggest things I told him is just hold me, support me, love me. I mean, and he does every day. I mean, if I'm having a bad day and I tell him about it, he'll just say, "Well, get you some rest."
Yeah, I have to tell you, at least from my experience and what I've gone through with Nell, is that being patient with us guys, because it involves us having to not just change our mindset, but our values a little bit. In other words, it makes sense to us that if something was presented to us and we was able to do something about it or fix it and make it better, we feel better about it. We feel like that we were actually helpful. We feel like
Yeah.
you can go on your way. So it's kind of it's sometimes difficult to value not being able to have the outcome be changed,
Yeah.
and just be part of creating an experience for the person
Yeah.
that you love. Because it's easy for us to kind of have that mindset of, well, okay, let's say I did that, and let's say we spent an hour, and I, you know, resisted that urge to just want to fix it or whatever,
Mhm.
and I was really present for you and made you feel validated, and just kind of had, more of a soft, not frustrating moment together. If nothing was fixed, they may not feel like
Productive.
fixed. They may not feel like
Productive.
like something of value happened, but that's not the case, right? So it could be
Not,
huge in
yes.
terms of,
Monumental.
yeah. And so I know that that's something that I, you know, have had to face and work on, and hopefully doing better at. And I know that good men
You do
around the
a great
world,
job of support her.
they want to be able to, in the end, um, I think it comes down to finding what your partner values, even if it's different. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that we don't value spending time together and things like that, but
Yeah.
if you don't just naturally value that as much as, well, I'd just be rather be fix it and be done with it and let's move on, right? Rather
Yeah.
than just sit in the fact that something's not changing and having us just both spend time together. So values can change,
Hmm.
but I think it takes some time, and I don't know. I think that that's kind of a frustration with women sometimes,
Yeah. Well,
even
and I
with
think he gets frustrated with doctors too because when stuff comes up all the time, it's like they throw a pill at you and they don't get to the bottom of what's going on. So that's another frustration he has because I do take
true.
medications.
Yeah, and it could be in-laws, it could be sibling. Yeah, you're right. I mean, IC brings up a good point. It's not just guys for sure, right?
Yeah.
It can be a lot,
Thank
but
you, Spot.
I mean, I guess if you break it down, we talk about peeling the onion a lot, in terms of getting deeper, and really what you're looking at is, if that person matters and is important to you in life, then you're going to um, you're going to invest more time in whatever it is that they need. And if you don't know what they need, or if you're not doing as well, you're going to spend that time, um, until they feel like, um, they matter, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, if you're going through the day, whether you're a doctor or a spouse or a mom or whatever, and everybody gets the obvious. Everybody's busy. We only have enough time in the day. We're stretched all these different places. And so that's why I think it means so much when we do that for each other, because
Mm-hmm.
it takes conscious effort, right? To say, I'm not going to be spending time trying to fix it, or
Yeah.
I'm not going to be paying attention to this. I mean, can you relate with that?
Yes, because you're pretty much what if you're working so hard on trying to fix something, you're taking time away from us.
Listening, or yeah,
Yes, and supporting
or
me.
or
Yeah.
if I yeah, or if I can't fix it, then why bother even tell me anything about it? We're just in a crick anyway. So how about you just save your breath, and we'll just deal with it, and let's not talk about it because you're going to depress me, right? And
Yeah.
so if that's happening, then you're not even having a listening moment, right?
Yes. And that's that. I mean, that's not just your spouse. I mean, it's your other family members, like my children,
Yeah.
my parents. I mean, my like because I was talking to my sister a while back, and I really explained to her what was going on, and she was like, well, "I had no idea." And I said, "Well, yeah, because I really do try to hide it as much as I can. I probably do complain some, a good bit, But I mean, that's just we complain when something's bothering us, but I try my best to hide it, or like there's days when I don't feel like it, but I get up, like there's birthday parties, or like I just had my daughter's baby shower a couple weeks ago. I have to just do it. I have to just make myself the mindset that okay, I've got to get up and I've got to get X, Y, and Z done today, regardless of whether what I'm going through, because I can't stop my life because my body has decided to throw a wrench in it and say, and I've had all these problems going on. And I won't lie, it's not easy because there's been days that I just lay in the bed all day because I'm just, why. And I can understand why I would never do, but I can understand. I've been through enough pain at this point that I can see why or understand why some people feel like that's all they have is to let, just do away with themselves, unalive themselves because,
Hmm.
they feel like there's, especially if there's not a support system. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see where somebody could get to that point.
So what would you hope for others then, with both this as well as just anybody that's in the chronic pain space or world? What are some of your hopes that you'd have for them?
That just keep on keeping on because but through this, what we're doing now, we're spreading awareness and we're getting people talking about this subject because it's not a subject that's talked about. It's kind of shamed or put, it
Hush,
really,
hush.
you're just like, oh, you're in chronic pain, whatever. Just because I can remember when my sister has, since she was 11 years old, she's had issues. And before I got to the point I was at, I would just tell her, it's like, oh, get up and move around. You'll feel better. Well, okay, that's easier said than done. Now I tell her, I mean, I apologize to her immensely because I said, now I'm like, okay, so when people say something about it, like, or people say something about her, and I'm like, till you walk to mile in that person's shoes, don't say anything because I promise you, it's not easy
Yeah.
until you've suffered through something like this. You can't tell a person, hey, get up, move around, hey, do this, because you're not going through what I'm going through or she's going through. But I just want it to be, not have a stigma on it. Like, yes, we suffer through pain, but there's a lot of us that you would never know. And that doesn't mean that we're not hurting by any
Yeah.
means, but we still have to live our lives, whether, through the pain.
Yeah. When people in our lives can help by some of these things that we're talking about, um, and sometimes it's difficult to know where to draw that line with where you're not expecting or asking for someone else to do something for you, right? That's also not, the healthiest thing. So what are some of the things that you do for yourself that's for your own health, happiness, and peace? That area of responsibility that you've got for your own care, where you're
Yeah.
not waiting for a spouse or a mother-in-law or your own mother or a sibling or whatever to do something. What are some of those things that you do for yourself that is helping yourself?
Well, I just recently got somebody got me 6 weeks with a holistic coach. And when we meet, we walk for an hour a day or an hour for that time, and then we talk about the different things that affect my body, which a lot of it I knew, but what I can do different. I have a wellness journal that I'm um, writing every night. I've started doing that this week just so that I can get all this out of my head and I write it down, and it's I don't think about it after that. It's done. But just to help me so that I can go back and go, oh well, this is what happened this day, or this is why I felt bad that day. But I have my best friend who I'm actually with now. We get together a lot and hang out, and she's also a chronic pain sufferer, and we just, like, we're fixing to start. The weather, like tonight, is storming, but we are gonna start walking together every, not, maybe
Yeah.
not every day, but at least try to do it several times a week. To
Okay. And
and support system there too.
Yeah, so finding people that support you, making friendships, exercising how you can, um, spreading awareness, challenging stigmas.
I've started going to the chiropractor, and she does one of them is ultrasound therapy. That I can tell has made an amazing difference in how I feel. I have a lot more energy since I've started doing that, and my pain is not quite as bad.
And then as we go, sometimes it's things that we're doing, and then we go back to things that people can help us with. What are some of the things that you would say for someone struggling to express what they need to someone else?
Find somebody that you can reach out to. I don't care how hard it is. I mean, go somewhere, talk to someone if you have to. I mean, just reach out. I mean, that's all you got to do. If you can reach out to just, I mean, like through this platform, this is a great platform because, like I said, I met y'all. And then, I mean, just that live the other day, it made my whole, I mean, it went from like watching her go through that whole process, but at the end, it was refreshing because she finally got to feeling better, could laugh and
You could
talk.
see that. Wasn't that crazy?
Yes, yes.
I
I mean,
know. Isn't that?
and it was hard to see her go through that, but yeah, like I said, in the end, it helped and she was better. And we had, I mean, she was able to laugh and enjoy.
I know. In a short period of time, right? It went from
Yes,
really
from the
serious.
car ride to your house. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing funny was even in our minds at some of those moments, and then
No.
by the end of the night, she
Yeah.
herself was cracking up, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Oh
that's what
yeah.
I think it's
Watch
confusing
her
for people,
go
right? Because if they're not seeing, um, if people have a tendency to hide away those other moments,
through.
whether it's because they don't want to be a burden, whether they don't want to be judged or whatever. And in that example, if you were the one that was there having pizza maybe at that evening, and you're like, you were
Mm-hmm.
just fine and you were laughing, they
Yeah.
would they would maybe think you were lying, that 4
Yeah.
hours earlier you were beside yourself, right?
Yes. An extreme. She was in extreme pain,
Yeah, she was.
and that's hard too. Yeah, because people, because a lot of times you're not around people because when you're in pain like that, you want a tendency to be by yourself or be alone. So they don't get to see that part of it. They just see the laughing, cutting up, and all
Yeah,
the joyous occasions.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
because nobody wants to be around a bunch of people when they're in pain, or you just kind of want to, okay, leave me alone. I'm gonna go over here and do this. So they don't get to see that a lot,
yeah,
or that part of it. And I mean, if that person chooses not to accept that, well, that's on them. But
yeah,
hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I need from you.
yeah. It
Because
doesn't
me,
have to
if
be
you have a
fun,
good
right?
relationship, then that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
I've noticed that just within this little bit of time, we would have two people. Well, then there was nine people in this live. Well, I know they're thinking, oh, I don't want to hear all this, so they just jump on out. So
oh, I see.
yeah, so I feel like people don't want to hear it. I mean, but we have to talk about it, get it out there more and more, and make it more of a talkative subject. I mean, of just putting it out there and saying, hey,
Yeah,
listen, make awareness for what's going on, because we have, just because our it's like I've told my husband before, if you could see what what I if you could see on the outside what I'm going through on the inside, it would look like I had been in a major car wreck. But
oh yeah,
there's a picture out there that shows people with like the arthritis and especially the fibromyalgia, what it would look like on the outside if you saw, but you can't
yeah.
because it's inside.
We were just talking about, um how things aren't going to change unless you start that conversation and kind of start challenging some of that, right? And then and
Yes, yes. I mean, we do. We have to talk about it. We got to make more people aware that it's not just something. Oh, people are just hurting. I mean, it affects our lives to the point. I mean, and like if people that go to a pain clinic, like I do, well, you've got this stigma on you because oh, you're a drug addict or you're drug seeking or blah 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 whatever. No, we just want to be out of pain, and that's like now I want to get away from that and to go to something holistic. And a big thing that I've talked to all my doctors about, and they're good with, is the THC.
yeah,
All my doctors have told me that it's I mean, it's extremely better than the other medicines that I'm putting in my body. So I know in Alabama here, they've made it legal for medical use, but I'm not sure. My doctor told me it may be closer to the fall before they, really get it going. And I mean, because I've seen people that's taken stuff like that, and it's improved. My sister's one of them. It's improved her life tremendously.
yeah. That's a lot, a lot to kind of cover that all has to do with part of sometimes solutions, but really just coping, right? And
Hmm.
not having coping kind of be this ugly word of, oh, I'm just drudging through things, but to have it actually be, our relationships, the quality of life. There's a lot that can actually be a lot better with
Hmm.
practicing some things that
Or
we're.
yes, and making it aware for doctors to start researching more things to help us. I mean, I'm very fortunate, like I said, that I found this chiropractor because this she does it's like a TENS unit sort of, but it's a little stronger, a little better. She does that, and I go twice a week. And the ultrasound has I've noticed has helped quite a bit, and it's for the deep pain
Yeah,
that so that's what she does that for. And there's not a lot of chiropractors that I've ever been to that do that.
wow, that's
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, the tens.
Yes, it's I forget what she called it, but it was like it's stronger than a TENS unit. It's a little like I'm not sure if you could buy one or not. You may can. I'm not sure, but she said it was just a little stronger than your normal TENS unit, but it has helped me tremendously.
Wow.
I've since I started doing it, I feel a lot better.
Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
Good. Well, let's switch gears just a little bit. Um, One of the things that we talk about is how not just this changes the day-to-day living, but part of that is just that, hey, we've got goals too still, right? Our life is absolutely
Hmm.
over. What are some of the goals that you have?
Um, Eating better, improving my quality of life. Like I said, I'm working on um diet, the exercise. Um, I mean, I know I can't say I'm going to be pain free, but I want to work toward at least being able to, instead of my pain controlling me, I can control my pain.
Better. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I know I can't like physically, but yes, so that I can do it better than what I'm going through. So, um, and just making like other people aware that, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's make a support group. I mean, that to me, because like I said, knowing that my sister goes through it and my best friend goes through it, that has been a big support. Just having somebody to talk to
Yeah.
listen to, hey, oh, I know how you feel. I
Yeah.
mean, not, oh, let's wallow in self pity together. It's okay. Let's encourage each other.
Yeah.
Let's talk to each other and think of ways we can do to improve our quality of life.
Yeah. We're social creatures, right? I mean,
Yes,
trying to go through this alone, it's just too much.
it is. It just, I mean, that's another way I think some people will unalive themselves is because they have no support. They have nobody to go through it with, and they get so
Despair. Yeah.
despaired. Yeah, thank you. And I that's another thing. Like with all this, you can't think of words like you need to. Like, I know this word, but it won't come here. And that's something like I said too. I want to, I'm trying to, like I said, not necessarily, I know I can't go completely natural, but I'm trying to work on a lot of that
Yeah.
because I know when my best friend was doing that, she felt a lot better trying to go as natural as possible.
Mhm. What would you say is the most important lesson that you've learned in all of this?
To be understanding and to show somebody else empathy because you don't know what they're going through, per se. So just thank you. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
she. Thank you. She's bringing me a coat. It's cool, but yeah, just being understanding to people and just like show kindness and empathy to people, um, and just be a support. I mean, if nothing else, just listen. I mean, that's all sometimes we want is to just vent. We don't want you to, oh, tell us that this is how it's going to be or let's do this. Just we're venting. Sometimes we're just venting and just let us do that. Let us get it out because that way it's not stuck in here and we can let go of it. But I mean, it's hard. I never really understood this whole dynamic or subject until I started going through all of this, and really, it opened my eyes tremendously, tremendously. Because I mean, people are just. I mean, when it comes to chronic pain, people just don't understand it, so they don't want to. They don't want to understand it sometimes, and I
Yeah.
think
So what?
sometimes we got to talk about it. This weekend, I was with my son in Florida, and I had made this TikTok and just reaching out because I felt like my family didn't want to hear it, whatever. Well, my son said, Mama, you can talk to us. I mean, he said, I love you and you can. I will listen and I want to understand. And I mean, I'm here for you. Whatever
Yeah.
you, I'm here. And I just broke
Oh,
down. I
yeah.
didn't, yeah, because I didn't feel like, because boys, they don't call you that often. They don't do. And he's
Yeah.
like, Mama, you don't have to put it out on TikTok. He's like, you can
Oh,
call me, you can talk to me. I will listen, but that's it goes within. Okay, I feel like I'm being a burden. He's got a wife, two children.
yeah.
That, and then even my daughter has. I've talked to both of them this weekend, and it was like, wow. I mean, and all it took was just talking. Mine with my children become stronger this weekend. I mean, very much stronger. I mean, they get it. They listened and we talked, whereas we hadn't really sat down and really like we talked about it, but we didn't just get into the meat of it
Yeah.
and tell and explain. Hey, this is what I feel. This is what you feel. So I mean, that made such an amazing difference. It's just sitting down and having a good meaty discussion as I have no other way to put it, but to just get down deep into the subject and talk about it and listen to each other without interrupting each other or you know because that's it. You just got to sit and listen, let that person speak their mind, and then you stop when they're done. You speak your mind and just listen. I mean, that's all I can tell people is that, and just we don't want. It's like I said in another TikTok. We don't want your sympathy. We want your empathy.